The air in our bedroom carried a stranger's signature. Jasmine laced with something darker, like crushed velvet soaked in midnight. I froze in the doorway, one hand still on the light switch, the scent curling into my lungs the way a lie slips past the teeth. Sarah stood at the mirror, fingertips smoothing the collar of a silk blouse I had never seen, the perfume blooming from her throat in slow, deliberate pulses. My pulse answered with a single brutal thud. I had never bought her that fragrance. Mark. She turned startled, the bottle still in her hand. Small black glass, no label. You're home early. I couldn't speak. The words were lodged behind the sudden metallic taste of fear. 8 years of marriage, 2 kids asleep down the hall, and this foreign perfume, was the first crack in the foundation I had sworn was granite. She set the bottle on the dresser with the care of someone handling evidence. It's nothing. A sample. From the mall. Her voice was steady, but her eyes flicked to the mirror, to the reflection of the bed we had shared since college, as if checking whether the sheets had already started to testify. I stepped closer. The scent grew heavier, intimate, like someone else's breath on her skin. Sample from who? My throat felt raw. A coworker. She was clearing out her desk. Sarah's fingers worried the cuff of her sleeve. It's just perfume, Mark. But perfume is memory in liquid form. I knew every note she loved. The clean citrus of the body wash we bought in bulk, the faint vanilla of the lotion she rubbed into her elbows after dishes. This was not ours. This was deliberate. That night I lay beside her, eyes open in the dark, counting the rise and fall of her breathing the way I once counted her laughter lines. Every inhale carried the ghost of Jasmine. I pictured a man's wrist brushing her neck, a stranger's mouth at the hollow beneath her ear. The images arrived fully formed, obscene in their clarity. I wanted to shake her awake, demand names, dates, hotel receipts. Instead I listened to the house settle around us, the refrigerator's hum, the tick of the hallway clock, and felt the first hairline fracture in my chest. Morning came gray and reluctant. Sarah kissed the kids goodbye at the door. Her lips painted the same soft pink they had worn on our wedding day. I watched her back the minivan down the driveway, taillights winking like guilty eyes. Then I did what 8 years of trust had never required. I searched. Her laptop password was still our anniversary. I hated myself for knowing it. The browser history was scrubbed clean, but the recently deleted folder held a single email draft. Can't stop thinking about your hands. Same time Thursday. E. No signature, no subject line. Just those 8 words glowing like a brand. My stomach lurched so violently I had to grip the desk. Thursday. Yesterday. While I sat in meetings discussing quarterly projections, someone named E had been tracing the curve of my wife's spine. I closed the laptop and stood in the middle of our home office, surrounded by framed photos. Sarah pregnant with Lily, both of us sunburned in Maui, the 4 of us at last year's pumpkin patch. The walls felt suddenly porous, as if the house itself had been listening. I drove to her office on autopilot. The parking lot was half empty, the building a low slab of glass reflecting a sky the color of dishwater. I told the receptionist I was dropping off lunch. She buzzed me through. Sarah's cubicle was a shrine to domesticity. A drawing from Jacob pinned above the monitor. A coffee mug that read World's Okayest Mom. She looked up from her screen, surprise widening her eyes. Mark? What are you? Lunch, I said, holding up the brown paper bag I had grabbed from the deli. My voice sounded like it belonged to someone else. She stood, smoothing her skirt. You didn't have to. We walked to the courtyard, the same place we had eaten sandwiches on her first day back from maternity leave. Now the picnic tables felt like interrogation benches. I set the bag down untouched. Who's E? I asked. The color drained from her face so completely I thought she might faint. What? Email draft. Can't stop thinking about your hands. Ring any bells? For a moment she was statue still. Then her shoulders folded inward, as if the question had punched the air from her lungs. Mark, tell me it's not what I think. She looked at the ground, at the cigarette butts and fallen leaves. It's exactly what you think. The world narrowed to the sound of my own heartbeat. I had prepared for lies, for gaslighting, for anything but this clean surgical honesty. His name is Ethan, she said. He started 6 months ago. New project lead. 6 months. Half a year of Thursday lunches that ran late, of texts I never saw, of perfume I never bought. I thought of the night she came home flushed, blaming spin class. I thought of the way she had started locking her phone. How far? My voice cracked on the second word. She met my eyes then and I saw the wreckage in them. Guilt, yes, but something else, something that looked disturbingly like relief. Far enough that I hate myself. Not far enough that I don't still love you. The contradiction should have enraged me. Instead it hollowed me out. I stood, the deli bag crumpling under my shoe. I need to go. Mark. Not now. I drove home through neighborhoods I no longer recognized. Every minivan looked like hers. Every blonde ponytail a betrayal. When I pulled into our garage, the house was silent, the kids still at school. I went straight to our bedroom and opened her dresser drawer. The black bottle sat on a bed of silk scarves, half empty. I unscrewed the cap. The scent hit me like a slap. Jasmine, yes, but underneath it something sharper, almost metallic. Desire and deceit in one inhalation. I carried the bottle to the kitchen, poured it down the sink, and watched the dark liquid spiral away. Then I sat at the table and cried the way I hadn't since my father's funeral, ugly, snot-nosed sobs that scared me with their violence. Sarah came home at 6, the kids' voices echoing behind her. She sent them to wash hands for dinner, then stood in the doorway, coat still on, snow melting from her boots. I ended it, she said quietly. This afternoon. Told him everything. I couldn't look at her. And that's supposed to fix this? No. But it's the truth. We put the kids to bed together, moving through the routine like actors who had forgotten their lines. Tucked Lily in, kissed Jacob's forehead. When the house was finally quiet, Sarah sat on the edge of our bed, hands clasped between her knees. I was drowning, she said. The kids, the mortgage, the endless cycle of laundry and carpools. Ethan made me feel seen. Not as a mom, not as a wife. Just Sarah. I know that's not an excuse. I sat opposite her, the distance between us wider than the mattress. Do you love him? She was quiet so long I thought she wouldn't answer. I love the way he made me feel. That's not the same. The distinction should have comforted me. It didn't. Weeks passed in a haze of counseling appointments and stilted conversations. We learned words like emotional affair and attachment injury. Sarah deleted Ethan's number in front of me, changed her email password, offered her phone like a peace offering. I checked it anyway, hating the person I was becoming. One night, 3 months later, I found her in the kitchen at 2 a.m., staring at the sink where I had poured out the perfume. She held a new bottle, our old citrus scent, the one from college. I bought this today, she said. I want to remember who we were before I forgot. I took the bottle, unscrewed the cap, and sprayed a single pulse into the air between us. The familiar brightness filled the room, chasing away the last ghost of Jasmine. She stepped closer, tentative, and rested her head against my chest. I felt her tears soak through my t-shirt. I don't know how to trust you again, I whispered. I know, she said. But I'm going to spend the rest of my life earning it. Outside, snow began to fall, soft and deliberate, covering the driveway where her taillights had once winked goodbye. Inside, we stood wrapped in citrus and uncertainty, two people trying to locate the exact moment the ground had shifted beneath them. The perfume lingered, a fragile bridge between who we had been and whoever we might still become.